Odutola dey talk. Where you dey go, Ghana man? With your West African passport, Annmarie dey come. Police people dey talk. Where you dey go, Ghana man? With your West African passport. Na Karante dem dey search you. Karante, na Karante dem dey look for. Karante, na Karante dem dey ask you. Karante, na Karante dem dey peace you. Karante.
Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Afrikanists Assemble. Language is more than sound or writing. It's texture, rhythm, color and emotion. It moves, vibrates and fills the senses. It can shape how we see the world, but what if we could also see the language itself? What if we could smell it, taste it or feel its texture under our fingertips? Thus, this month, we invited our contributors to imagine language as a full-bodied sensory experience by asking if an African language you are familiar with could be smelled, tasted, felt and seen, what would that experience be like? Through their responses, we explore how languages live not only in sound and meaning, but in the senses, memories and emotions of those who speak them. Let's listen in.
Makadiva teereri. Mubvunzo wemwedzi uno wakandinakidza chaizvo. Ndakabva ndabvunza mwana wangu. Mhinduro dzake dzakandinakidza. Ndobva ndafunga kuti regai nditese ndinobvunzawo vamwe kuti vanofungei. Saka ndakabva ndaenda ndobva ndanobvunza vanhu paFacebook kuti munofungei pamusoro pemutauro weShona. Dai kuri kunzi chinhu chawaikwanisa kudya chaizonzwika sei, kana kuti chinhu chawaiona chaitaridzika sei, chinhu chaunokwanisa kubata chainzwika sei. Handiti ndaenda paFacebook paya ndobva ndaisa mubvunzo wangu. Pakabuda mhinduro dzakasiyana siyana, asi chakandishamisa ndechekuti mhinduro dzacho ndakaona sekunge dzakanga dzakada kutorerekera kune mhinduro yandanga ndapiwa nemwana wangu. Saka zvandakaona ndezvekuti mutauro wechiShona ini ndakazenge ndakufunga. Ndikati aiwa, saka ndizvozvo mutauro wechiShona vanhu tsanangudzo dzavaipa pachikafu muenzaniso pane zvokudya izvi. Vanhu vaipa kuti Shona inoita kunge sadza chidyiwa chemuno muZimbabwe chinodyiwa nevazhinji. Handiti vamwe vaitaura zvekuti kunhuhwira kwayo kunoita sekunze, sepasi ivhu ranaiwa nemvura, huswa hunyoro, zvinhu zvinorangaridza vanhu kukura kwavo, zvinhu zvinorangaridza vanhu misha yavo yavakakurira, zvinhu zvinorangaridza vanhu zvinhu zvavanoti izvi ndizvo zvinhu zvinoita kuti ndinzi muShona. Ndo zvinhu zvavaipa setsanangudzo dzekuti Shona ingave chinhu chinotaridzika sei dai kuri kunzi inooneka. Pandakazodaro ndakazenge ndakufunga zvimwe zvandakambonzwa zvakare neumwewo anoita zvemutauro wekuIndia anonzi GN Devi. Akati mutauro unotipa mukana wekuti ndingati kuona zvinhu zvatisingakwanisi kuona. Sekuti musana wangu uyu ndinokwanisa kuubata asi handikwanisi kuuona, asi ndikataura izwi rekuti musana ndinobva ndatoona mumusoro wangu kuti musana iwe wakaita sei. Saka pandakaita izvozvi, pandakashanda pakupindura mubvunzo uyu, ndakabva ndaona kuti hongu mutauro tingange tisingakwanise kubata kana kuona, asi iwo unotibvumidza kubata nekuona zvimwe zvinhu zvatingange tichidaro tisingakwanise kuona kana kubata. Ndinotenda.
Yoruba would taste like garlic. Garlic that when you taste it, when you eat it, even after you have stopped eating it, people will still perceive the smell. And I think Yoruba is like that. It's not something, once you get into it, it's not something that just stops with you or stops with the experience. It's something that lingers on because you begin to see life differently. You begin to see and construct reality differently as opposed to what you did in English. English is like sugar cane, something you have to bite into, and so on and so forth. But Yoruba is more like garlic because, yes, it has the smell, and sometimes the smell can be offensive to people who are not used to it. But it's what I will say, that Yoruba would taste like garlic if I was to use that kind of metaphor. As you all know, Yoruba is head initial. In English, you say my house. In Yoruba, you say ilemi. So the essence, the thing itself comes first, just like in garlic. It is in the eating of it and the biting into it that really matters. And then thereafter, for a while, the taste and the smell of it will linger on. Learning Yoruba language or speaking it lingers on and on, because it will be something that you would have to think about for a long time to come. So that would be my take for this one.
In za a sunsuna yaren Hausa, ƙamshin shi zai yi kamar haɗin turaren oud da sandalwood na Larabawa, domin Hausawa matafiya ne, kuma suna koyi da al'adun mutanen da suke haɗuwa da su a cikin tafiye-tafiyen da suke yi. In za a ɗanɗana yaren Hausa, ɗanɗanonsa zai zamo kamar haɗin gambeza, za ka ji ɗan tsami, za ka ji ɗan ɗaci, kuma za ka ji daɗi, kamar miyan da aka san su da shi, wato miyan taushe da kuma miyan kuka. Za ka kuma ji ɗan yaji kamar tsirin da shi ma aka san su da shi. In za a iya taɓa yaren Hausa, zai yi tauri kamar fata da suke bugawa su yi kayan ƙawata gidajensu, zai yi kuma laushi kamar audugan da suke nomawa su sayar. In kuma a gani ne, yaren Hausa zai yi haske da launi daban-daban, kamar kayayyakinsu da suke sawa a hawan daba, ranar sallah a gidajen sarakunansu. Zai yi kuma ɗan duhu domin yawancinsu Hausawa baƙaƙe ne.
Answering this question, my choice of language will be Yoruba language, being my mother tongue. Analyzing the language through my sense of smell, taste, sight, and touch sounds quite interesting to me. I'll start by analyzing Yoruba language from my sense of smell perspective, which brings to mind the earthy scent of rain on red soil, the fragrance of oru or osan peels mingling with the aroma of onions and hot pepper in hot palm wine from a family kitchen. Permit me also to say, as a musicologist, that Yoruba language smells like a fresh smell of dried animal skin on the talking drum. Talking of taste, Yoruba language will taste like honeyed pepper, sweet and burning at once. Its tonal contours will dissolve in your tongue like a wedu soup, slippery yet melodic, thick with history. Every word will be a percussion of flavors. And when it comes to touch, Yoruba language feels like a vibration of the polyrhythmic pulse of the talking drum beneath your skin, echoing like heartbeats in the ritual space. To crown it up, Yoruba language appears as a choreography of symbols and tones, just like the elegant curve of the talking drum's membrane. The geometric balance of divination trees, arrayed with diverse colors, with pores of deep indigo, coral red, and gold, as well as visual echoes of Orisha aesthetics.
如果斯瓦希里语可以被嗅到，我想它会带着印度洋的味道，海盐、香料，还有穿过椰林的海风。它诞生在海岸，每一个词语似乎都在呼吸着浪的节奏。斯瓦希里语的气味是桑吉巴尔的丁香味，是蒙巴萨的海风味，也是清晨茶香中传来的笑声。 如果斯瓦西里语可以被尝到，它会是甜中带辣的，就像那碗加了肉桂和豆蔻的香饭。词语在口中流畅滚动，像蜂蜜一样柔滑，却偶尔带着姜的温热与惊喜。如果斯瓦西里语可以被触到，它会像棉质的康嘎布，柔软却色彩鲜明，力量充盈。印在布上的谚语提醒我们，语言不仅是用来交流的，更是用来承载智慧、爱与共同体的。如果斯瓦西里语可以被看到，它会是海上日出的颜色，金色、珊瑚红与湛蓝。它像拉木古老的雕花木门，带着耐心和自豪，也像街头温暖的问候。Hujambo, Habarigani。对我而言，斯瓦西里语不只是语言，它是一种充满声音、气味与触感的风景，是一首仍然在呼吸的诗，连接着非洲海岸与大陆的心。
If my study language, known as Fulfulde, could be tasted, it would have the flavor of salt. The metaphor of salt is inspired by the consonant phonemes of Fulfulde, which include stops, stridents, approximants, affricates, laterals, and a trill. By taking the initial letters of these phonetic categories, one can form the acronym SALT. S stands for stops and stridents, A for approximants and affricates, L for the lateral, and T for the trill.
Bí mo bá lè gbọ́ òórùn èdè Áfíríkà tí mo mọ̀, ìyẹn èdè Yorùbá, yóò rùn bí ìpara olóòórùn dídùn epo pupa tí a gbá, tí a wá kó efinrin, kànáfùrù àti èròjà amárajọ̀lọ̀ oríṣiríṣi sí, tí a dá lọ́fíńdà olóòórùn dídùn sí tí ó ń já lálá. Irú èyí tí ìyá mi fi máa ń pa mí lára lásìkò òjò. Òórùn yìí yóò wá dàpọ̀ mọ́ òórùn tí ó máa ń rùn nígbà ọ̀gìnìtì tí òjò bá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dá, nígbà tí a bá péjọ sídìí ààrò tí à ń yẹ́ná, tí ìyá mi sì ń ki oríkì wa lọ́kọ̀ọ̀kan, tí ó sì ń fi àlọ́ àpamọ̀ àti àpagbè dá wa lára yá, tí a sì ń jẹ ìbẹ́ òní àgbàdo. Bí mo bá lè tọ́ èdè Yorùbá wò, sílébù rẹ̀ yóò dàbí ọbẹ̀ ẹ̀fọ́ rírò alátarodo, tí a fi àlùbọ́sà àti irú pa, tí òwe inú rẹ̀ ní edé, akàn, esunsun, ìgbín, ẹja ọsàn, ṣàkì, àbọ̀dí, ẹ̀dọ̀ àti panla tí ó dúró fún onírúurú ọgbọ́n àbáláyé, tí a wá ń yí mọ́ ẹwẹ̀ èdè tí í ṣe iyán funfun lálá àti ògùrọ̀ tí a fi lé. Bí mo bá fọwọ́ kàn án, yóò dàbí aṣọ òkè tí a mú lọ́nà àrà tí ó ròde àríyá, tí a fi ró dẹ́dẹ́ tí a kàn dúdú, tí a wá ṣe lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́ pẹ̀lú gèlè yáyá, ìlẹ̀kẹ̀, ẹ̀gbà ọwọ́ àti tọrùn. Bí mo bá lè rí i, yóò dàbí ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀, dùndú, gángan, bàtá, ìyáàlù, omele àti agogo tí ó dúró fún àmì ohùn tó dùn gbọ́, tí à ń gbọ́wọ́ ìjó gẹ̀gẹ̀ sí, nígbà tí a wọ àdìrẹ olómi aró tí ó jojú ní gbèsè tó dùn wò lójú. Èdè Yorùbá dùn, àbẹ́ẹ̀gọ́? Ẹ ṣeun.
Ulwimi endingathetha ngalo ndophele lwaseAfrika sisiXhosa. Ndingalufanisa nomilimili. Kaloku umilimili ukwazi ukwenza ukutya okwahlukeneyo umnye. Ngokunjalo nesiXhosa. Kumilimili kuphuma umphokoqo otyiwa namasi, kuphume umqa otyiwa nasiphi na isishebo, ingayimifuno kwakunye nenyama. Kwakuwo kukwaphuma nesidudu okanye indengane etyiwa kusasa. NesiXhosa sityebile yaye sixananazile. Kulo ulwimi lwesiXhosa, xa uthe walingcamla walifumana lingangxengwanga, liba ngqumbululu, lide libhide nomphulaphuli lowo uyinzalelwane yakwaXhosa. Ngoba kaloku izangotshe ezifumaneka esiXhoseni zilwenza ulwimi lwesiXhosa lunambitheke okokutya endikuchaze ngasentla. Enkosi.
The African language I am most familiar with, even though it is not my native tongue, is the Hausa language. The Hausa language, to my mind, is a beautiful, voluptuous, and chubby woman. Woman because the language is gendered like French and the female gender is often prioritized over that of the male in Hausa. She is also beautiful because she glides easily on the tongue, even though she has a good number of consonant sounds. Her size is determined by the vastness of her usage. She is spoken across the entire northern Nigeria and parts of Cameroon, Chad, Ghana, and Togo. If the Hausa language could be smelled, she would have an enticing and enduring fragrance. The fragrance is reminiscent of the Arabian perfumes that could be smelled over 100 meters away, yet it could be perceived as dry and smoky. The Hausa language is soft and tender around most of her parts, the curvy ones. However, there is a little hardness around her stony parts. In taste, the Hausa language is as sweet as local candy called mazarquela, which is a candy made of sugar and honey. At the same time, she is as delicious as soup made of dried leaves of the baobab tree, known as miyan kuka. It is this combined taste and more that makes Hausa language to last on the tongue of its speakers. As mentioned earlier, the Hausa language is a black, sexy, and attractive woman who dutifully stays connected to her speakers in nearly the same way her sister Swahili in East Africa does, just that she is more natural.
Kiswahili, ladha yake na harufu yake ni kama pilau. Pilau ni chakula maalum na maarufu pwani ya Afrika Mashariki, na zaidi ya wali na nyama, kwa kawaida nyama ni ya ng'ombe, na mara nyingine viazi, pilau inatumia viungo kadhaa. Ukiangalia pilau unafikiri si lolote si chochote, ni chakula rahisi na hata si vigumu kupika. Lakini sasa ukionja pilau utashangaa kusikia ladha tamu ya vitunguu, nyama na wali kwa pamoja na viungo, na kila kiungo kinachochea ulimi wako kwa namna yake. Utasikia harufu yake kutoka mbali kutokana na viungo vyake vingi: karafuu, dalasini, tangawizi, vitunguu maji, vitunguu thumu, binzari nyembamba, iliki na pilipili manga. Kwangu mimi kwa kweli pilau ni kama lugha ya Kiswahili. Kwa sababu jambo la kwanza, si vigumu sana ukianza kujifundisha. Lakini ukiendelea utashangaa kuona ukwasi wa lugha hii na namna nyingi ya kuitumia na pia kuelewa maneno. Haswa kwa sababu watu, haswa washairi, wanapenda kuzungumza kwa mafumbo. Wanafumba lugha yao, wanatumia picha ama sitiari, lakini wanamaanisha kitu kingine. Kwa mfano, wanatumia mti, lakini wanamaanisha mtu. Tofauti ya biriani, ni chakula kingine cha wali, ambayo kutoka mbali inaonyesha kuwa chakula maalum kwa rangi ya wali wake. Pilau inaonekana ni ya kawaida, lakini kumbe ladha yake imo ndani, imefichwa. Jambo la pili kwangu mimi ni kwamba pilau ni kama kioo cha uhusiano wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki na nchi nyingine za Bahari ya Hindi. Kama Kiswahili ni lugha ambayo ni ya Kibantu, lakini imepata maneno mengi kutoka kwa lugha nyingine, haswa upande wa chakula. Karafuu, dalasini, tangawizi, iliki na binzari, majina yote ya viungo yametoka pengine. Mengi yameingia katika lugha ya Kiswahili kupitia Kiarabu, kama kwa mfano karafuu ama dalasini, lakini mengi yana asili mbali zaidi kutoka Kihindi ama Kisanskrit, ama asili hata haijulikani kama neno kwa mfano pilipili, kwa sababu neno hili limeenea mno katika takriban lugha zote za Bahari ya Hindi. Lakini uhusiano si wa maneno tu, unasikia harufu ya viungo ambavyo vimeenea kote Bahari ya Hindi. Unguja haswa ni karafuu. Hata wakati wa mavuno unasikia karafuu kila mahala na inachochea pua. Hata pilau yenyewe kwa jina na chakula ni kioo cha uhusiano wa miaka mingi baina ya miji ya Waswahili na miji ya watu wengine katika nchi kando za bahari ya Hindi. Pilaf wanakisia ni neno kutoka kwa Washirazi. Na hata siku hizi katika mikahawa mingi ya Kihindi unaweza kuagiza pilau. Lakini uwe na hadhari na usishangae, ladha ya pilau ya Kihindi ni tofauti sana na pilau ya Kiswahili. Kiswahili hakikopi tu, kimetia vyake. Jambo la tatu na la mwisho ni kwamba ingawa pilau inatumia viungo vingi, ladha yake si kali. Pilau haiwashi, bali inabembeleza ulimi. Ni kama Kiswahili na Waswahili. Watu si wakali. Ni wapole, wakarimu, si rahisi kukasirika. Kwa hiyo, ukitaka kuonja Kiswahili, basi uanze kwa pilau.
One language that I'm familiar with is Igbo. Igbo is an indigenous language spoken in Nigeria. If I could describe the smell of Igbo language, I would say that Igbo smells like red earth after a heavy downpour, or the earthy smell of palm kernel being crushed in an oil mill. The aroma of a fresh palm oil reminds me of Igbo language and my hometown, where stories of the ancient people are told, the stories of the history of the people, the stories of the ancestors and the spirits, the stories of earth and everything that still lives in the earth. If I could describe the taste of Igbo, I would liken the taste to that of a soursop. Soursop is meaty. The taste sometimes is sweet and sometimes sour. But some people still take it because of the health benefit. Igbo language to me is full. The words, whether used in literal sense or in figurative sense, like in Proverbs, have layers of meanings. The meanings are sometimes easily acceptable, but sometimes not too good to the people, yet the speakers acknowledge that there are lots of ancient wisdom encapsulated in the language. The feeling of Igbo language is neither rough nor smooth. The feeling lies in between. If Igbo language is to be seen, it will be hues of colors that capture the vivacious nature of the speakers, the irrepressible buoyancy of a people who have had series of challenges, but who have survived many battles, including a civil war. The sight of Igbo will be captured in festival of colors rather than in a lone, dull color.
La question de la synesthésie, association d'impressions venant de domaines sensoriels différents selon le trésor de la langue française, est un lieu commun, poétique, que l'on retrouve notamment chez Arthur Rimbaud. Celui-ci, dans un célèbre poème, associe les sons vocaliques à des couleurs. A noir, E blanc, I rouge, U vert, O bleu, voyelle. Je dirai quelques jours vos naissances latentes. Les naissances évoquées dans ces vers rappellent le pouvoir de la poésie qui crée de toutes pièces des sensations diverses. Mon expérience, du Swahili, s'est construite, quant à elle, tout d'abord à distance, par des textes, des images, et en écoutant des émissions de radio. Pour ce qui est du goût, du toucher, de l'odorat, j'ai dû donc, dans un premier temps, composer une représentation mentale à partir de sensations diverses, ressenties chez moi, en France, mais aussi dans d'autres pays africains dans lesquels je me suis rendu, avant d'aller en Tanzanie notamment. Pour moi, du fait de ma spécialisation, le Swahili est avant tout une langue littéraire, et c'est bien avant tout un paysage sensoriel littéraire aussi, que m'évoque cette langue. Je l'associe par exemple à l'odeur du clou de girofle, à cause notamment du roman de Shafi Adam Shafi dont le titre français est Les girofliers de Zanzibar. Le titre original, Kasri ya Mwenye Fouad, le palais du seigneur Fouad, et vous l'entendez assez différent. Une fois sur l'île, j'ai finalement assez peu senti cette odeur, mais elle reste un point de repère, pour moi, et un point de repère qu'on peut qualifier de quelque peu exotique tout de même. Le Swahili a aussi, de manière plus concrète peut-être, le goût du thé chai acheté tôt le matin dans une rue de Dar es Salaam. J'associe ce rituel et toutes les sensations qui l'accompagnent à la ville et aussi, par conséquent, à la langue. Pour en revenir à la poésie, Et pour terminer par la poésie, j'aimerais lire un extrait d'un poème de Kezilahabi, de Euphrase Kezilahabi, qui fait s'entrechoquer les 5 sens et illustre bien le phénomène de synesthésie évoqué plus haut. Il y est question d'une forêt de livres sur une table de travail au crépuscule. Une phalène s'approche de la lumière de la lampe et le poète explique qu'il nage dans cette forêt de mots, cette forêt de livres, et il se compare à un nouveau-né que l'on baigne juste après sa naissance. Juu ya meza kuna msitu wa vitabu vya manabii, ni usiku. Taa inawaka mwanga umekaribisha nondo kupitia dirisha pana lililovunja na walimu wa dini. Nje, kuna giza na upepo unaimba wimbo wa upweke na woga. Nami, bado naogelea msituni. Na baridi yanitetemesha kama mtoto aliyemwagiliwa maji baada ya kusaliwa. Je m'excuse s'il y a dans cette lecture des maladresses ou des erreurs de prononciation. J'ai essayé tant bien que mal de transmettre ma perception, personnelle et biaisée forcément, de cette belle langue qui est donc le Swahili. Merci.
The Yoruba language could be smelled, tasted, felt, and seen. It would be a great multifaceted experience that the land and people it represents. It will smell like freshly warm and homely pounded yam and palm oil, evoking community gatherings and ancestral kitchens where wisdom was shared as freely as food. It would taste like pop and drum within, on the tongue, with each tone carrying meaning that delights or commands, depending on how it's served. That is spicy, sweet, and deeply expressive. It will feel like ashoke, the traditional woven fabric, textured and dignified. Each thread, like each word, carries centuries of philosophy, humor, and spirituality. It will look like a vibrant marketplace that is colorful, bustling, and full of proverbs and negotiations. Beyond communication, speech is for performance and connection. The Yoruba language is spoken as much as it is lived. It envelops the senses, revealing that language in African contexts. It is embodied as a rhythm of identity, heritage, and shared humanity.
In Swahili, there is a saying, Titi la mama ni tamu, which means a mother's breast is sweet. It reminds us that our first experience in life is full of love, care, and comfort. If the Swahili language could be tested, it would taste sweet and warm, like the love of a mother. This saying also carries a deeper meaning. It shows that Swahili, like a mother's milk, comes naturally and smoothly to those who speak it. You don't have to struggle or worry when using it. It flows with ease and peace. In this regard, if African languages like Swahili were used in formal settings, such as in education, students could truly feel the learning. They would understand lessons in a language that speaks to their hearts and experiences. Learning would become more real, enjoyable, and connected to daily life. It would allow students to think freely, express themselves better, and feel proud of their identity. Just as mother's milk feeds the body, a familiar language feeds the mind and soul.
Those were some evocative reflections on the sensory life of African languages. Each description revealed how language can be more than communication. It can be an experience, a landscape, even a flavor that lingers in memory. Which of our contributors' sensory portraits resonated with you most? And how would you describe the smell, taste, or color of a language you know? Share your impressions in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Afrikanists Assemble. If you'd like to keep exploring the many dimensions of African languages and literatures with us, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.
Kwame Nkrumah Nana, Makrefri Akra. kakra abepie mu wɔ Dakar. Deɛ me nana ka yɛ no a na mede nam. Abibiman nyinaa yɛ baako Afrika. Enti sɛ mekɔyɛ me nkrataa asɛm anɔpaa. Awia mede da. Adeɛ san so a anigyeɛ kakra. Me ne mafekubo yi Kwame. Makonya ayɔnkofoɔ bi a wɔpɛ abiebie te sɛ me. Yɛnante koraa akonya base bi a yɛtumi yɛ biribiara bi. Bawo my